channel. I swear, when I find number 500, and I will find you. That's all I have to say.
You volunteered for that, too.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well, best way to incentive is watch Baron Voltage freaking squirm in agony and pain. I know it's all my damn fault. Shut up.
It was your idea.
Yeah, I know it was my idea. That's what makes me say shut up. You want to know what? I had faith in the channel. I had faith in my subscribers, and I had our subscribers, and I had faith in our overall demeanor. But at the same time, ow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, come on. Who wants to see me in agony and misery and
Everybody.
despair? Well, yeah, that's true.
Okay, quick vote. Who wants to see him in agony and misery?
Now who wants Kevin?
Now wants Kevin to suffer in misery, agony, and pain? Yeah. Yes, definitely.
I'm not doing hot wings for less than 1,000. We've already picked what I'm doing for 1,000.
Well, how about what happens when we hit 1,500? Then we'll both do it.
I think all three of us maybe have to do it.
No, I wouldn't subject Brian to it. I actually like
I would.
I know you would.
See, this is why he likes me more. Oh, goodness gracious.
So before we get into our sponsor, I do want to remind everybody that tonight's topic is going to be creepypasta rituals, particularly the Momo challenge.
Oh boy.
But before we delve into that and the fact we may or may not be having a special guest, we don't even know for certain yet.
Mm-hmm.
So dramatic tension.
I promise I won't spoil it this time.
Mystery guest.
Are you sure?
We should, but before we get into that, or into our topic in general, we really should get into our sponsor, which would of course be Audible. For those of you, for the three people out there at this point listening who don't know what Audible is an absolutely fantastic service where you get audiobooks. They have tens of thousands. Even better if you go to our affiliate link, which is audibletrial.com/paranormale, audibletrial.com/paranormale, you get a free audiobook. It's you sign up, you get a free membership. It lasts a month. The audiobook's yours to keep, whether you keep the membership or not. Membership's cheap. It's like $19.95 a month or so.
And they got tons of stuff. I'm telling you.
And it's a free audiobook a month, and some of them are short. It ranges the full length. I mean, I got a book on vampire stories from throughout history a while back. That's like 50 hours for what you get for one free audiobook.
Yeah, and
one credit.
I mean, they even have reference materials. Oh, yeah. They have books on tape in regards to languages learning.
Mm-hmm.
For those of us. Oh yeah, self-help books, plenty. And they got the entire compendium of Dacre Stoker, as well as
Brian McKinley.
Brian McKinley, absolutely.
Carrie Vaughn,
another. Anne Rice.
Yeah, what can you do?
Oh, come on. I gotta make him cringe and squirm in some sort of shape, way,
but
or
it is
form.
an absolutely fantastic service. If you do a lot of driving, or if you're like me and you have to sit in a security post all day with very little to do, it's a godsend to have a book to listen to.
When the hell did you get here?
When did who get it?
Somebody put a freaking bell around her neck.
She's been sitting there since
we were talking about the Wings Challenge.
Yeah.
Stop that. You make me nervous. Too nervous.
We do need to check. Is there a creepypasta ritual about eating hot wings?
Oh, you better believe it. There is.
I haven't found it.
If there isn't, we have to write one.
Oh, I guarantee you, there's probably an SCP out there regarding hot wings.
The Hot Wing Challenge.
I am certain there's an SCP of the ultimate hot wing.
Oh God, yes, or the ultimate hot sauce.
Yes, which would interrelate.
Exactly. But for those of us that don't know, this is our producer, Beth.
Beth, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yay.
I'm the producer here, as was introduced. I'm also the one that herds these guys everywhere.
Meow.
My cats.
Meow.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's fair to call it herding cats. Cats would be easier.
Yes.
I'm the healer in this raid party.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm the Leroy Jenkins. For those of us that don't know our Warcraft references. What's wrong with you?
I know people who aren't gamers that know that reference.
Leroy Jenkins!
We'll be investing in leads, don't worry.
Oh, God.
It's one of the weirdest things I ever had happen. I'm working at a retail job, and black guy who generally is like into racing cars and like normal non-geeky stuff,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden starts talking about the Leroy Jenkins thing, and I'm like, really? You know what that is?
It's a cultural phenomenon, man.
Yeah.
That thing went viral
But
like
this was
crazy.
like right after it happened too. It wasn't
Yeah.
quite as recent.
I mean, it's the ultimate verb. It means to fly in, flailing about, throwing all caution to the wind. Kind of like me in the show.
Okay, so creepypastas.
Let's.
For what people are, let's get into what that is before we get into something into this Momo thing. So for those of you who don't know, a creepypasta is a short horror story on the internet. My fiance Amisha often describes it very well as basically the internet version of a fireside ghost story.
Yep.
Pretty much.
The name basically comes from copy paste, I believe, and copy paste, copy pasta, creepypasta.
Yeah, I can.
At least that's what the Reddit.
I'll subscribe to that a little
Is
bit.
that where that comes from? Because I've been wondering where the
I think the
that comes
pasta
from.
bit kind of came from a little bit of a cultural phenomenon with throwing pasta at the end of everything.
No, I think that was more because a lot
Mofasta.
of people devour horror the same way that they would as foodies.
Okay. Well,
And especially since pasta is usually something that everybody typically, in some fashion or another, absorbs and inhales.
yes.
And when you start reading creepypastas, it's like you are binging.
It's addictive.
You're making me want some ravioli, damn it.
So there
Aw.
is a subset of creepypasta known as a ritual pasta. Ritual pastas are an interesting phenomenon. Some of them are classic urban legend type of stories. One that I did as a kid, and many of our listeners did as a kid most likely, is of course Bloody Mary. Go into a bathroom, spin around 13 times, say Bloody Mary each spin, and she supposedly appears in the mirror.
Or some
That's
sort
not
of
the version I
variation.
heard. That's not the version around
Which
here.
one did you hear?
The version around here was you went up to a door and you knocked 3 times. Calling her. It had to be an abandoned house.
That's brand new to me. I've
That's
heard a
kinda
lot of
new, but-
variations of Bloody Mary. but
That's
it's
the version that
always
was
a
around
mirror.
here. It's the one that I learned back when I was still at Mary Mars Private School. And the thing is, there was a house right across the street.
Huh.
And the kid who was telling me goes, you say it in front of a doorway, and that's actually the version that they initially went with in Urban Legend.
Well, go figure. I've always heard it was a mirror.
Yeah.
You wait until
I've
around
heard it.
3 a.m. or 3:15 a.m. You light a candle. You say it 3 times while staring into the mirror, and upon the 3rd time, when you blow out the candle, you wait, and then she will appear through the mirror and claw your damn eyes out.
Claw your eyes out, take you to hell, drag you into the mirror, kill you. There's a bunch of versions.
Some sort of heavy duty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
immortality.
a lot of this existed before the internet too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 40. This has been around since I was a kid.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
you
It's
go.
been around since probably our parent, my parent, your parents, and your parents were kids.
Probably, yeah.
It's a classic bit of Americana. There's a whole lot of speculation on who the Bloody Mary of the story is. The most obvious answer is that it's Mary, Queen of Scots, who was known as Bloody Mary.
Plausibly. Or they just named her as
No,
such.
she wasn't the one that was Bloody Mary because she really didn't have anything to do with the actual wars that were going on. That was,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she still had the nickname.
she
No, it
wasn't
was
the one with the
the
nickname.
Catholic or the Protestant Mary.
Yeah, it was Elizabeth's sister who was Bloody Mary because of her persecution of the Catholics.
Yeah.
There's
I
a few
can't
people in
be
history
on
that had
anger on
that
that. I'll throw this out there though in regards to creepypastas. It really started to blow up as like a phenomenon as far as like on the internet is concerned when Slenderman became the
Oh,
focus.
yes. Which decidedly relates to what was the particular motivation for doing tonight's topic. So there is something between an actual phenomenon and a creepypasta known as the Momo challenge.
Yeah.
This is a weird one, but has apparently been involved in at least one death.
At least one that we know of. There may be multiple. Our folklorist, also producer Beth, knows of many others.
But basically, as I understand it, it's an app which you use to contact this individual, or I've seen theories that it's actually a demon who will give you increasingly horrible tasks and threaten to dox you, release your information and your embarrassing pictures to the internet if you don't do what you're told.
Yeah, I mean, Black Mirror came up with an episode floated around it called "Shut Up and Dance." which is kind of a scary concept and process. Because I mean, the variation I've heard is that people will at random via different messaging apps, be it WhatsApp, Messenger,
Yeah.
etc., will get a random message from this showing the picture of. I forget the name of the actual.
The actual statue is called the Bird Mother.
The Bird Mother.
Which, when I was looking at it earlier today, actually, and I'm looking at and the way that's sort of going about, and its main target being teenagers, mid to younger teenagers, is it reminded me of a Tengu and how, because Tengu were typically bird-like, typically celestial guardians back in the day. And it's like if this got corrupted or something like that, this is kind of what it would look like, or if it was in mid-transformation. So, and I actually looked up to confirm that I was getting my lore right, and that was correct. I was actually impressed.
Yay.
So the thing is with the Momo challenge, there have been rumors circulating that it originated from the whale challenge.
The blue whale challenge.
It was simply called the whale challenge on the thing, but where it was a similar concept, but it was primarily targeting teenage girls, and that started off in Russia, as far as the original source goes. And it was essentially similar concept. You would go through this series of tasks, which would eventually, in some fashion, order or another, culminate into you committing suicide if you were one of the targeted victims. The Momo challenge works fairly similarly, but instead of it being something on a random thread or a private message through a forum like Facebook or what have you, it goes through WhatsApp, it goes through Kik, what have you.
Yeah, I mean, there's been other occurrences that have been documented in India of this as well. I mean, it's global.
Yeah.
India, China, the most prevalent have been in South America.
Prevalent, but yes, South America.
And the thing is, too, there have been so many theories going about. Is it one person? Is it multiple people? Are they doing this at random?
Is it the Illuminati?
It's not the Illuminati. It hasn't gone that far down the rabbit hole. But are people essentially perpetuating this game or challenge in order to get a kick out of it and keep it alive? Or is it somewhat organized in some respect? Which humanity's not that organized.
Is anybody watching is Gene's not back there. Is anybody watching the Skype in case we do get a call?
I'm not sure.
Hun, could you keep an eye on that?
But yeah, and the way that the phenomenon is working, there was one suspected suicide that was practically confirmed, but they were linking it. This was the girl down in South America. I forget exactly which country, but they had connected it to a teenage boy that, at least he was arrested. I don't know if he was ever exonerated or anything from that. But anytime that if somebody else got a hold of the number that initially contacted a victim or participant, anybody else tried doing it, it would go silent.
Right. It's. I mean, I know that they managed to try and. There were investigations done left and right, trying to track down the individual call numbers that these texts came from. And apparently, by the time they did, the numbers were deactivated. So you have to wonder if it's people just using burner cell phones. But if it gets that extensive, I mean, it has to be bloody organized. You know? I mean, maybe
it's
it is
not that hard to get a burner cell phone.
Yeah,
it's gotten harder recently.
Granted.
But additionally, the fact is, if it's something that people are just picking up and doing at random, that would also explain why it's in such pocket instances as well.
Well, here's the interesting question, I think, though, and this is a recurring question folklorists run across a lot with something like this. Which came first, the story or the app? I think I'm not weighing in one way or the other one, but I think there's certainly a case that could be made that with the prevalence of the creepypasta and the ritual pasta phenomenon, somebody may have written this up as a creepy idea, and then one or more people or a group of people may very well have decided to, oh, this is a sick and twisted thing, let's do this.
Yeah, it sounds like something I would think up.
Certainly there are older creepypastas I've read that have very similar elements.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate chain letter, sort of twist there. Instead of a letter, you're getting a text message. Do this in this many days, or do this to this many people, or bad luck will fall upon you. It's just a variance, but instead you're actually being told flat out what the consequence is going to be. We're going to release those pictures from spring break that you thought your boyfriend was not going to be showing anybody, etc., etc., etc.
And I mean, we tend to have a lot of sense of humor about stuff like this, and for good reason. Although it is worth noting there isn't anything funny about the fact that at least one person seems to have committed suicide over the situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's one thing to joke about it. It's another when you kind of realize this is kind of jacked up, and I'm gonna say it right now. I find out somebody pulls this crap, I'm gonna find them, and then nobody else will.
I'd say there's the related thing, and I think this also makes for a good discussion in general, aside from just creepypastas, is the ethics and nature of them, given you just mentioned earlier the story of Slenderman and the fact that two young girls got it into their heads that Slenderman wanted them to murder someone.
Yeah, I mean, it's in this particular case, it's extortion. Straight up. It's blackmail extortion for the sake of amusement and entertainment. And, I mean, don't do it, people. That's first and foremost. Second of all, if there is an organization that's trying to pull this to thin the herd, as it were, I mean, who could it be? Who are our prime suspects? Who would be stupid enough to try and pull this kind of crap, have enough to cover their tracks? Because, I'm going the conspiracy route here, in case y'all haven't just tuned in. I mean, let's look at the usual suspects. The flat earthers.
Don't generally care about killing people that often.
The Scientologists. They got the resources to find the crap that nobody else could.
They do.
The sovereign citizen movement.
Not smart enough.
Most of them aren't violent, and they're not the brightest bulbs in the box.
About to say their organization skills are haphazard at best.
LDS.
Not generally violent anymore. There have been times, absolutely, in LDS history that they were.
I was about to say. You've also got Russia.
Are they organized enough to do it? Oh, maybe they are.
Come on. You have to really
Russia
think
has
about
bigger
that for a
shit
second.
Russia has bigger shit to fry if it wanted to do that.
I think
would be
they've
a lot
already
more
fried it.
Korea seems crazy enough.
Korea does seem crazy enough, yeah.
Yeah, that. Especially North Korea.
Yeah, I mean,
That would be what I meant. Yeah,
they've got enough. There's enough global reach that any organization could be trying to pull this crap.
See, the logical person in me, though, is inclined to think this isn't a widespread thing. I think this is groups of assholes.
Well, here's the thing. It's like I was saying earlier. It's hitting the most common instances were in South America. There's been some in India, Japan, and what have you. We actually had one a couple months ago here in New Jersey, over in Brick, which is how I had initially found out about it. Because there was a younger kid, about, I want to say like 6 or 7, who had it on their mobile device, whether it was their own smartphone that mommy and daddy got them or what have you. And apparently this was something that they had seen their sibling doing. And the sibling got bored with it, left it alone, and the kid took it and was starting doing these crazy things, and the parents didn't realize why. And when they realized what was going on, they saw the messages from it, they flipped.
And naturally so. I mean, what parent would think that a 6 or 7-year-old with a smartphone would do anything intelligent? This just kind of goes to show, don't give your little kids a frickin' cell phone.
At least
What
not
the hell is wrong with you?
Or monitor it a lot more.
Yeah, seriously monitor it.
Yeah.
And I do want to say something, given, there is the channel I ran across, which is what originally inspired this, called Proving Demons.
Yeah.
Which does something similar to, from what I understand, from what I've watched so far, to what my friend Lupus Creepus did in testing various ritual pastas. The big difference I see with them is where Lupus traditionally tried to follow the rules, they tend to intentionally break them.
Oh, there you go.
But they tried this, and there was speculation about Momo being a demon and attempting to do some EVP to contact it. They did seem to think they got some results on the EVP. Let me say this: I don't think I do not believe that whatever is behind Momo is a demon.
No.
We know the statue. It's already been confirmed was an art piece in Japan.
It was an art piece in Japan. It was actually something for special effects. For a while, it was attributed to an artist who later came out and says, no, this actually wasn't mine. So I don't know if it was similar to a series of work that she had done at one point, but she outright said it was this particular company. And the thing is, when you're looking at it in its full glory, as it were, like when you're seeing the entire thing of it, they even have it as a museum piece over in Japan right now.
Yeah. It's an impressive piece. I think.
It is impressive. It does strike fear, but that's what the Tengu were supposed to do, and that's why it resonates to me that whoever started this could have, because the main running theory right now is it may have initially started in Japan, which because of various stressors and social demands, they have a unfortunately very high suicide rate, especially amongst all ages, but primarily amongst the teens to 20-year-olds.
Early 20s.
And so that could be a possible starting point or some influence thereof. And even if Momo was started essentially out on a whim, the way that it's mainly being targeted towards the, mid to younger teenagers, things like that. These are people who, regardless of where you are located in the world, you are in a very vulnerable place. This is where any mental, physical, or life-shattering change of any kind, or even the smallest little thing, can set you down a very dark path, just mental health-wise.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, as we have all seen and whether through our own experiences or online or what have you, younger teens tend to be some of the most obnoxious and prideful
shitmongers
on the planet. And the thing is, what's interesting, when I was looking up the Tengu earlier today, was Tengu particularly hated braggarts, the boastful, the prideful. And this ranged primarily from those that were in authority down to even all the way across to the clergy.
Yeah.
However, it was not out of character for them to get mischievous, tricksy, and humbling of the common man. So it only makes some sort of sense that if somebody started this and this was just some sort of idea of bringing down the teenage generation as the initial start point, and then it just spread like wildfire out of their control. They want to try to keep it local. This thing is spreading like wildfire, and unfortunately, it's going after people who really do not need that right now. There's one thing to give a reality check. However, doing that kind of damage can...
I absolutely agree. Of course, the other catch is there are teenagers that are actively seeking this out.
Yeah, I mean, it's that constant thrill of what could they possibly find. Nobody ever seems to think that they're going to find that one thing. It's true across the board of
these ritual pastas that you have people that are trying to do them. And they're, by and large, I'm not condemning that, Bloody Mary and light as a feather, stiff as a board, and for that matter, where I was growing up, there was the I Challenge the White Knight thing, and these are rites of passage for teenagers. They're part of growing up. But people, and I hate to say it, I think that the paranormal community and how prevalent we've gotten is, I'm not blaming us, but it's playing a role. Because kids are hearing all of these stories, they want to have an experience. They want to see this thing that everybody says doesn't exist.
Right.
See, that sort of goes back to that whole... And the thing is, everybody's guilty of that, regardless of what age you're at. Teenagers are the most impulsively going to go seek it because of where their age bracket is and what they can do.
And nobody wants to back down.
And also inherent sense of immortality you get as a young person.
I mean, the fragility of the teenage mind, as it is, and teenage self-image, follows through with the one simple six-worded phrase that never enters their brain, and they would never believe. The 6 words. Who cares what anybody else thinks?
Well, sometimes it's not even just that. It's the adrenaline rush. It's the I'm going to go and do the thing. I'm going to, whatever my point is, my stance on this subject, I'm going to go forth and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Which that's completely fair. But then again, by that same token, those types of risks and whatnot, they're essentially following, while trying to find themselves, this little thing called once a philosopher, twice a pervert.
Yeah.
Try it at least once, see what happens.
Yeah.
It's sort of how some people, you know, they may be the most hardcore skeptics. They'll go out on a ghost tour or something at least once. And, you know, something may come across them. And they are die-hard believers for the rest of their lives. By the same token, you have people that have believed fully, nothing happened. They're either going to be optimistic, like, oh, well, maybe it was just not tonight. Or it's like, well, this place is a total bust, don't go here again. And then the arguments are going to start flying.
It's the same thing with hypnosis. They won't believe in it until they get dropped. Next thing you know, a whole new world. Yep. Hands
Man,
down,
you got a
no
pair of
doubt.
pipes on you.
Oh, I certainly do. I don't use them that often. You want to know what? We get to 600, I'll sing pleasantly anything that the subscribers say for me to sing. Not you degenerates, because I know yous. And I know yous
Fair
well enough.
I wouldn't make it too hard.
Yeah, you would.
It's like, what is the hardest song to sing?
Vivaldi.
And nobody's mitts or not because you have to switch with German and Latin.
Polyglot and already speak fluent German.
What about Latin?
Meglio mori con fedora.
So,
The Grecio
we'll
Torah.
run it through Google Translate and translate it into Aramaic and Sumerian. And good luck, because nobody knows how to pronounce Sumerian.
Get under the table and do that. Enough said. Anyways, back
there.
on topic.
But, and here's the other thing, folks. If you want to have an experience with the paranormal, certainly by all means, Bloody Mary is largely harmless. Something may happen, and I'll get into that in a minute. But most likely, what's going to happen isn't paranormal. For that matter, if you really want to have a paranormal experience, my first piece of advice: find a local ghost tour. Go on it. People do see stuff on those tours of the various local haunted sites.
And if you don't see something, feeling something is
Yes.
going to be just as effective. There's one that happens every so often over in Princeton. I went on the 1 year. And it was all fairly low-level stuff compared to what I'm used to, but there's still, you know, some things resonating there.
And if nothing else, it's usually some fun history and like cool stories about where you
Oh,
live.
you mean like the old streaking tradition they used to have in the quad?
Oh, God.
Exactly.
Or I would suggest this, though.
Yeah.
Hit up an old cemetery, not a modern one.
During the day.
During the day.
And here's the thing to know about that. You can see spirits during the day. It doesn't have to be at night.
Oh, yeah.
It's just typically easier at night.
You can potentially go at night, but if you're going to go to a cemetery at night, and especially if you're underage, 1, go with a parent or guardian.
Yes.
2, hello, local police. I wanted to tell them the truth. Call the police. Ask for permission.
Yes.
Make sure it's the non-emergency line.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
call the police department directly.
And having done this, because I have done cemetery investigations from time to time, and it's always you get the advice of the police. You don't get in trouble if you get the advice of the police. They're usually reasonably understanding about it, especially if you approach them and sound like come at them calmly and rationally. Explain your interest. If you're in high school, say, my parent or somebody of legal age is going to be there in case anything happens.
Essentially, you have a chaperone.
Yes. Another really good choice, historical sites.
Yes. And there's tons of them out here in Jersey. There's plenty, I guarantee you, in your state, because you know what? Country's been around for about a good 200 years. There's shit out there.
And bring a camera.
Yes.
Because even if you don't see something with the naked eye, you may very well feel something like Beth suggested, but you might also get something on camera.
EVPs?
EVPs is another option.
There you go. Little tape recorders.
Additionally, it does, as far as cameras go, it doesn't have to be the camera that's on your smartphone. It doesn't have to be or anything digital like that. If anything, as a backup, find a Kodak.
Yeah, or disposable.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Find a Kodak for a very simple reason. certain areas, the energy will actually drain the ever-living crap out of your battery.
Yes, it's the other thing is bring backup batteries for everything that if it's battery powered, bring a spare, and then bring a spare for the spare.
Yep.
And have at least 3 different chargers if your phone does not allow you to take out the battery.
Absolutely right.
Yep.
And yeah, recorder phones. You have a built-in camera and recorder in probably your back pocket for most of the people listening.
EVPs work usually with digital recorders. I usually
yeah.
expect just
very
standard
very much
magnetic
so.
tape.
That's what his is.
Hey, sweetie, remember the time it just turned on the phone?
Oh, right. So, Amisha just reminded me of a very interesting situation we had. You were there for that, I think, too. Or was it the other weekend?
It was the other weekend. You guys told me about it. I wasn't there for it.
We
Dang
were
it.
at an event, one of the Halloween in the Catskills, in fact. We had people doing audio recordings because I hadn't been able to find my recorder because I have a very good digital recorder that'll pick up EVP everywhere. But we were doing it with phones, and why is this?
Miracles of technology.
Anyway, we're doing them with phones, and we have 3 phones set up, and all 3 of them, the screens lit up just like that, simultaneously when we asked the question. Nobody touched it. Nobody was near it. No, there was no notifications on it to light it up. There's no reason for it lit up. It's not necessarily, oh my gosh, this is the devil himself, but it wasn't. It was a very specific, almost. We asked the question, boom, 3 phones go off. No notifications, no nothing to do it.
Have you ever wondered whether or not it was a stoner spirit that showed up? It probably was like, dude,
The ideas crossed my
the
mind.
phones, man.
What is this, man?
I
New
guarantee
Game
you,
Boy?
this is why I will not go to Woodstock for a paranormal investigation. Okay? The last thing I need to do is see a free-roaming specter on acid. I say thee nay. I guarantee you, too much tie-dye, which you can't even really see registered when it's transparent. It's trippy.
For that matter, if you're of legal age or if you have parents that have a similar interest, there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of haunted hotels.
Yeah.
Some prominent ones. There's the Captain Grant's Inn in Connecticut that we had the nice lady who owns it on the show.
Yep, that was one of our earlier episodes.
Yep, one of our first episodes. There's the Logan Inn in New Hope, Pennsylvania, which is one of the 5 oldest continuously operating inns in the entire country.
The Holiday
1722.
Inn in Baltimore on Lombard Street. As a matter of fact, where I was at this past weekend. Yeah, about 3 or 4 of the damn rooms had presences within them. It's a modern-day hotel.
The Stanley Hotel in Colorado.
Oh, God,
which was
yes.
the inspiration for the book The Shining.
Bucket list.
Plus,
Likewise.
in general, as far as like going to hotels or things like that, because there have been times where historic locations have been bulldozed down before they were actually preserved as historic locations. There are still spirits on those locations as well. And the thing is, with hotels, people don't realize this. A lot of people die in hotels or are found dead in hotels on a regular basis. So
Take it
you are
from
going
somebody
to
who's been in
find
the industry
something.
for years.
Yep.
Oh yes.
And even if you don't want to take his word for it, the probability statistics on it are pretty much in his favor.
I even know a city. An entire city, which I guarantee you is loaded. New Orleans. Hands down.
New Orleans is a funny case. You're absolutely right. It is loaded to the gills with ghost stories. It also has a fair number of vampire stories.
Yep.
And you know what the catch is?
What?
Most of them were made up after Rice got big.
Well, go figure. But seriously, yeah, I mean...
The world is full of amazing haunted locations that you can go to completely legally, and you are very likely to have an experience.
Williamsburg. Or go to some old forts, for goodness sakes. I mean, so many
Actually,
old
certain
military
woods.
forts.
Certain woods you can go to. Up at Jim Thorpe, there's the old jailhouse museum that has plenty of activity going on it. A lot of it again is really low key. There's a couple of that I've encountered. Dirty sons of sea cooks who were in the jail for the proper reason. The guy who was wrongly hanged for being a Molly Maguire. He's still kicking around there.
There
The
you
thing
go.
is, in the nearby wooded areas, still plenty of nature spirits around, and there's also others around because that's a lot of it was near where the mines were. So there were a lot of people that died from that.
Heck, you want Mother of All Haunted Places that's open to the public, at least during the day?
Easton State Penitentiary?
That's another option.
Ah, damn.
Gettysburg.
Oh, yes.
You know, and yes, Eastern State's another example. If you've got the money and it's pricey, I believe they still do. I haven't checked into it in years, but they do haunted tours where you can go in at night for like $50 each per hour.
Yeah.
With a minimum number of hours and people. And realize as well, because I've had this come up before. People are like, why do they charge so much? Historical sites in the United States are shamefully lacking in money.
Additionally, even with the protections that are for like parks and whatnot, which technically these historical sites should be considered as, they're not given anywhere near the kind of maintenance because of tax cuts and other things as well.
Somebody has to pay to fix things.
Exactly.
Somebody revive Teddy Roosevelt's ghost. He'll come over and beat them all with the
we
freaking
should
big
actually
stick.
because we have hit the half-an-hour mark, we should give out the phone number.
I think that would be a good idea.
609-807-2492, 609-807-2492. It is also on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, give us a call. I guarantee you, I'd be fun to talk to, and Kevin would be fun to rip into, or vice versa. Kevin would be fun to talk to, and I'd be fun to rip into.
If you've got questions, we're always happy to answer them.
Yep.
Opinions are welcome.
Naturally. Brian will look at you derisively and then come up with a very funny statement as well.
Yep. But, and that's the thing. And there are also a fair number of creepypasta rituals that are harmless. You're not going to hurt yourself doing them.
We just got done describing like maybe 50 or 60 of them. All you got to do is just write them down in text. Enough said.
Or look them up online. Don't go places you're not legally allowed to go.
Don't break the law to enjoy fun.
Yeah. Don't commit acts of vandalism.
Definitely don't do that.
And cardinal rule in all forms of ghost hunting, for teenagers and for adults, don't go alone.
Ever.
And,
it will not be legendary.
Yeah.
No.
And if you need anyone to explain to you why not,
then you need a head examination.
you're in the wrong field. But if you really need somebody to explain to you, it's really simple. If you're in a cemetery alone in the middle of the night and your foot goes down a gopher hole and you break your ankle, you'll be much happier if you have somebody around to help drag your butt out.
Needless to say. Not to mention the fact that, let's face it,
crazy people.
That is number 2. Number 3, the spirits love one cut from the herd.
Which is
the more malicious
not
and
what
some
I was
of the
trying
mischievous.
to emphasize.
Well, that's not necessarily true. It depends on what you're dealing with. Mischievous ones, they'll essentially play little pranks, but
They'll screw with you.
But they will let up after a while. Malicious ones, it depends from cemetery to cemetery. But the fact of the matter is, as far as the human element of the crazies, and not necessarily the crazies, but the unbalanced. The fact of the matter is, a lot of the cemeteries, you're lucky if they have fences with the steel pokes on their own that are properly maintained that go more than 5 feet up. It's unbelievably easy.
Oh yeah.
For somebody to jump over, especially if they don't feel anything, if they're tweaked out or something like that.
And if you got into it, somebody else can get into it. In my younger, dumber days, do not do as I did do cemeteries on my own. And I ran into people doing all sorts of weird rituals.
It may not be a real ritual, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a thame in their hands isn't real.
Yeah.
For those of us that don't know what a thame is, basically a curved
Athame.
dagger.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Athame.
Plus, additionally, there's certain instances, especially when you're alone and you're hyped up on all the adrenaline because of what could happen, that not only could you possibly give yourself a panic attack, even if the ritual has no actual basis or power, you getting caught off guard is going to be having you doing reckless crap to begin with, whether it's just turn-tail fleeing, what have you, tripping over stuff, getting yourself hurt, and additionally, just from the sheer panic, you're going to more or less not really be open to what you're looking for if there's any spirits around to begin with that's, playing with that area to begin with. You're going to be hallucinating more, and it's not really going to be
You'll jump at your own shadows. That's absolutely correct.
I mean, the thing is that a ritual doesn't necessarily have to be real to get the attention of something that is.
Yep.
I mean, I guarantee you there's some things out there that'll be like, oh, that's cute. He drew a pentagram on the ground. Let's screw with him a little bit.
Oh, they actually have an excerpt in the RPG Sorcerer where, the demon goes, you summoned me, what is your bidding as you have used this? And it's like, well, I didn't actually use this dagger. What did you use? A nail file.
Close enough.
Sir, I'm about to give unlimited, unbridled power to a woman who used
a nail file.
And a nail file in the dirt. Like, you could hear what the hell? It's like they're amused, but at the same time, seriously? Really?
In fact, here you go, folks. For anyone out there who's listening who'd be curious to have, not a paranormal, because this is actually entirely explainable, and I'll get into why and how in a minute. If you want to have a really bizarre experience,
I love bizarre.
You need a candle.
Yay.
You're going to light the candle. You're going to go into your bathroom. Leave all the lights in the bath. Bring something to set the candle on. So you don't want to set fire. That's the wrong kind of bizarre experience.
And wax is a pain in the ass to actually clean up.
That too. And
that's why you put tarps down.
Stand in there with the lights off, except for the candle. Keep a very neutral expression on your face, and stare at your own reflection. And just stare at it. After a while, you may see it wink, you may see it smile, you may see it change into the face of an old woman or somebody or something completely inhuman looking. This is, in my personal opinion, the most likely explanation for the many people I've spoken to over the years who did see something during the Bloody Mary ritual or the similar rituals. The part of our brain that deals with pattern recognition. Staring at reflections mess with our heads
naturally,
but staring at for a while, you expect your brain on a subconscious level expects something to happen, and it triggers the pattern recognition software in your head, and you can see your reflection do weird things. Again, this is not paranormal in any way, shape, or form. It is completely explainable, but it's still freaky.
Roz is sitting there in the office of your subconscious, basically saying, subconscious, he's back and he's doing it again. To which the subconscious says, all right, screw it, I'm going to make him see this.
Yeah. It's the reality of look around. There's plenty of weird things that don't require the paranormal. And that's a really good example of something most people listening, if they have the mind to do it, can go do that and you spend, less than $1 on a candle?
It's fun.
If you don't have one already, and I'm betting a lot of you already do.
Yep.
Even if it's a birthday candle, it'll work. You just need the light.
Yeah.
Additionally, to add on to that, because you said it was all the recognition.
Yeah.
You know those things where if you stare at it for 30 seconds and you look at a blank wall, it'll make a shape and outline.
Spots and stuff, yeah.
Or an outline. Like there's one that looks weird as hell, but after you look at it, it's supposed to be like some sort of biblical figure or what have you.
What?
That's the type of optical illusion.
Oh, okay.
Where it's like,
I'm here thinking you were talking about a specific object. I'm like,
no. But I think that also plays into it as well, because
I believe you're right.
Because you're looking at yourself in normal color as well. Because a lot of times when people are doing like the Bloody Mary ritual in general, with the ones with the mirrors anyway, it's always in varying states of decay. Why is it going to look like that? Well, what's the opposite color of this? That you're going to see as an outline that's going to be pronounced against the darkness because your eyes are still focused. It's not like having a floater.
I actually have a scientific explanation as to why it is that you see the trace. The thing is that when you're looking at something, what you're doing is you're not necessarily seeing the object. What you're doing is you're just seeing the light reflected off of said object, regardless of how low that light level is. Your retinas are going to keep track of that, especially if you're staring at it long enough. The retina is more or less like consistently processing that pattern. So when you look away, You're not seeing the light that's reflected off of that. You're seeing the retina trying to recognize, oh, we just got done staring at this for the last 15 minutes. Wait, okay, calm down, guys. Everybody calm down. We're not looking at that anymore. And the retina is slowly but surely beginning to turn off all the individual rods and cones that recognize varying colors and light levels. And the retina begins to calm down, and that's when it fades.
And that's perfectly fine. However, what I was saying was that the reason that you get more color and depth for something like that, especially depending on how long you space it out, it can have that color feedback that just fades in as if it. And how many times do you want to bet that, especially when this first started going around, that people freaked themselves out so bad that they actually smashed themselves into the mirror?
Oh, good heavens.
Or like, hurt themselves in some other way and blamed it on Bloody Mary? Because they freaked themselves out so bad they like jumped back and like tripped into the tub or something.
Oh yeah, that's guaranteed.
Mirrors themselves have an interesting history, and I will say as well, for those would-be ghost hunters out there, if you want to get a photo of a ghost, believe it or not, a bit of advice. I've been lucky with getting ghost photos without having to do tricks. But for those of you who want to and haven't yet, and if you're in a haunted site, take a photograph of a mirror. Spirits do act. There are two bases for Bloody Mary in the paranormal mystical sense. One is that, yes, spirits have an easier time crossing through in reflective surfaces. And this has been true since ancient times. There are records all the way back to ancient Greece of using mirrors to summon spirits.
Also, when somebody dies, if you don't want them getting pulled in where they're not supposed to,
do you cover the mirrors?
For others, or for spirits to grab other souls with them, you cover the mirrors in the house.
The other side of which is a lot of magical traditions use reflective surfaces.
Divination.
Scrying. Yes.
It wouldn't happen to be because the mercury is degrading behind the glass in said old mirrors, which released gases and got people really high. I mean, like really high. Okay, like really high.
Although this goes to the using a camera and taking a picture of the reflection, because the mercury can you're absolutely right, can have an effect on your brain. You can't photograph hallucinations.
True. Not denying that. I'm talking about the people that used it for magical purposes.
Oh yes, certainly.
Well, the thing is too, when you're and the thing is, because of that, as you bring that up, when you're doing any kind of scrying divination, especially whether you're regardless of what your medium is, whether it's a mirror, smoke,
Me. Remember, small, medium, at
large.
being a rod.
You're welcome.
Anyway, or even a candle flame. And I've had this happen, especially because these things, just because they're there, we are immediately, as per human nature, attracted to just watching them. Whether it's our reflection, whether it's the fire contained and yet, able to do whatever it wants in a heartbeat. The smoke as it dissipates and it's like, where did it go? Everybody's attracted to this. And when you're doing divination, you have to be very careful not to, one, over-attract something past what you're trying to look for, and two, that you don't essentially lose your way back, which that can be on some area very dangerous.
Right. Well, I mean, any and all forms of, I guess you could call it practice of the arts, as it were, are going to have their individual risks. Various implements and equipment will thus have the same. For those of us that are doing this is a really trippy, cool thing to do, although it's not paranormal, that's a good way to dip your toes in, folks. Yeah. And kind of like get yourself a little bit of an exposure. So this way you don't get freaked out so blatantly when something like comes up and around, especially if you've contacted your local police department to ask to actually have a ghost tour. You're not going to be freaked out when you see a Civil War soldier walking out behind that obelisk in the damn cemetery. It'd be not cool. Brian, you look like you're about to say something.
Nope.
Okay, dang.
And there are plenty of stories like this Civil War soldier. He didn't just pull that out of thin air.
No, I didn't.
There's the photograph that was taken, and I believe it's available online, during the filming of the movie about the Andersonville prison camp. Now, when they filmed the movie, they couldn't film it on the grounds of the prison camp because it's a park.
That's right.
But there's a photograph circuit that was doing the rounds way back when the movie first came out of soldiers in Union uniforms sitting on a porch.
Mm-hmm.
And the porch was actually part of the prison camp. And Andersonville was a southern prison camp for Union soldiers.
Yep.
There are more soldiers in the picture than were there for the photograph.
There you go.
I've heard reports as well from the movie Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
Pickett's Charge is the one part of the movie that was actually filmed on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And people that were there, who were mostly reenactors, had some really weird experiences
Yeah.
as well.
I mean, I've heard stories of people actually seeing full-blown troop movements out along the tree lines of old battlefields. I mean, it's ridiculous. But you know what?
Still hearing gunshots out of the Alamo at night.
I know. I've walked around there at night. Yeah. I mean, just because a place is populated don't mean that something ain't going to pop up. You know? Be vigilant. But don't be paranoid. Is that even doable? Vigilance without paranoia?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a degree of paranoia, I think, inherent in being vigilant, but...
No, that's controlled paranoia because you have an idea of what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not really paranoia. That's caution.
Arguable, but your point is valid.
Point is valid.
And we're too close to the end to get into a full debate. And sadly, the surprise guest is still working, so will not be able to join us.
And that's perfectly fine. He warned us ahead of time.
And the invitation has already been extended that he's welcome to come back.
You gonna reveal who it was, or are we gonna wait?
Yeah, I'll get into who it was, because I do want to, although his channel is fairly inactive, I do want to give him a plug. So I had actually, we're talking about Creepypastas, so what else could I do but invite my friend Lupus Creepus to call in if he had some free time.
Yay.
For those of you who don't know Lupus, he has a whole channel where he tests all these various crazy creepypastas.
It's all the awesome.
He hasn't done Momo, but that's kind of risen after he's gone quiet. But he has done Bloody Mary. He's done just about everything else you could think of, including the ones. Oh yeah, he's done Ouijas in haunted places. He's done Ouijas. He's done the Midnight Game. Heck, he managed to pull off the Devil Game.
Oh, nice.
I'm still.
Wait, which one was this one?
So
you told me about this before.
It's a ritual to summon Satan, but it has to be done inside of a church.
And that takes some special kind of balls. Lupus, you are awesome.
That's one thing. The other thing is he had to get permission from a church to let him do this. I know the original thought, because I got to ask him about it, and you can go watch it on his channel. It's quite interesting. I highly recommend it. But the original thoughts was, okay, maybe we'll try a satanic church, because satanic church is probably okay with summoning Satan.
Especially out by where he's at.
And yeah, he's in California. So it's not like Satanism isn't common. And also the reality of the situation is the ritual just says it has to be a church. It doesn't say it has to be a Christian church.
So for the real smack in the face, Eastern Orthodox or Catholic would be appropriate.
Yeah. He wound up finding a very interesting one. Check it out. The video out. It's trippy as heck. But the sign of the cross on the wall is a pair of crossed rifles.
Okay.
Nice.
It was built for movies as a movie set piece, but it has actually been used for religious rituals. So it is in fact a church.
Yeah, you know what? I have got to give Lupus cred. I was an ad agent for AOL, and even I can't convince somebody to let us do that. Damn. You, sir. Kudos. Hat is off.
We will have him on at some point in the future. He's a very nice guy. He's a lot of fun. He has a really good channel. We all are hoping he will come back to it someday.
You know what?
And he wants to. It's just a question of real life and work and things get in the way.
I'm going to have to talk to him. Do you know why? Guess where I'm going to be on Halloween?
California?
San Francisco.
Nice.
So guess what? Maybe the Halloween before or that Thursday before, we can actually have a remote.
That would be a good idea.
Yes.
I approve.
There we go. That's something, you better agree. That's something that would be awesome. But I think that, any and all types of, modern day ritual, modern day pastas, they're going to be extensive. I'm just curious as to what the next one's going to be. What's the next one's going to be big? It's going to hit the damn news.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But we're coming up on the end, so I do want to give a quick plug to what we've got coming up.
Okay.
Because we actually have a pretty cool schedule coming up.
Yay.
So did we pick a topic for next week?
We did not, but we do have a guest next. No, we don't have a guest next week. We have
Following week we have a guest.
Yeah, following week we have a guest. We don't have a topic for next week that will be announced. So keep an eye on our feed.
This is why we have production
Facebook,
meetings.
Twitter.
And if you have a suggestion, by all means,
Please.
spam us.
Yes. You know what? Put my email in the description down below.
No,
There are
we have
few
a
people
show
waiting on
email.
responses from me. I've been tied up with work, so please forgive me if you're expecting a response from me and you haven't gotten one. You will get one in the very near future. Oh, that's a possibility. Is what I'll probably do for next week is reach out to Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae and see if they're available.
See if they can come in. Okay. Yeah, which is fair. Because of the unfortunate incident last time.
Again, if anybody, if any other fans happen to be watching and wondering why we haven't made good on having them on yet, schedule conflicts on their end, schedule conflicts on our end. It's nobody's fault. Stuff happens.
Conflict
You
is
can
horrible.
blame me for them not coming on tonight. My birthday is tomorrow. I demanded the Momo show be done tonight.
Yep,
There you go.
She did.
I'm turning 30. I have the right.
She does a lot of work keeping everything in line, so we were happy to accommodate her.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Actually, you want to know
Happy
what?
birthday, Beth.
Should we sing her happy birthday, or should I sing her a
We're
happy
running
birthday?
out of time.
Yeah,
We'll
we
do it
are.
At the diner.
Yep.
I do want to hit the rest of what we have coming up. So next week is up in the air. We'll see what we can do about getting Kyle and Steve on if they're available. I can't promise since I have to talk to them. But the following week, I'm actually kind of excited. We're going to have another YouTuber on that I happen to be a fan of.
Squee.
Yes,
Me too.
So February 7th, we are going to have Guy on. He has a channel called How to Be a Great Game Master. For those of you who have not figured this out by now, we're a bunch of giant nerds.
Yeah.
Geeks.
What up?
Yeah. Guy's got a whole channel about Dungeons
And
Dragons.
he should know ogre
and games like that.
impersonations.
Both on how to advice for new
You're better.
players, advice for new game masters, advice for existing game masters and players. We'll be having him on probably to talk about horror-themed RPGs because it's what remotely fits. And then coming up on the 21st, I want to say, of February.
Yes, 21st is
February. We will be having not Lupus,
Linkara.
Linkara on From Atop the Fourth Wall. He does
Oh yes.
comic reviews. Particularly, the obvious connection point is he does a series called Long Box of the Damned
Yep.
about horror comic reviews.
He is the awesome.
But he has been very gracious and been willing to give me an interview pretty much since I started this channel. But he's very popular and he's a very busy man, so no blame being assigned here. Just the reality of the man doesn't have oodles of free time.
So we're
He has
very
finally
thankful he got back to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has finally had the free time to agree to come on. He will be on the 21st. We're really looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
Now, since that's as far in advance as we currently have, if
Yep.
you have any suggestions, questions you want posed on, if for no other reason than to see Baron go on a tangent,
Yeah. If you
by
think
all
your
means,
house
please-
is haunted,
Yeah.
by all means, email us at the show's email address. Kevin has been primarily giving out his more due to out of habit, which that's perfectly fine. He's been doing this for as long as he has. However, you would be best to be going to email the Paranormal Encyclopedia Hour at gmail.com. Everything is spelled properly.
No
So-
spaces.
No spaces, of course, no spaces.
No
Just an email.
spaces. No spaces.
You can also reach us on our Instagram, which is Demon B with just the letter B, gone. That's what I put there. I figured you would appreciate
I
that.
approve.
No spaces.
I'm gonna smack you.
No. No
Should
spaces.
smack him.
I will smack you.
Actually, you want to know what might happen next week? If we actually get those 3 subscribers remaining.
Oh, that's right.
True.
The challenge.
Oh boy.
Or you can also hit us up on our Twitter. Let me get this done real quick.
Correction. In fact, it's 2 subscribers.
Oh fuck.
There's someone that Beth knows,
Language.
R.J. Lewis,
What?
who I believe, according to her, is your sister.
Mine or hers?
Hers.
RJ
R.J. Lewis. It was Elizabeth's sister. Beth is correct. That's the exact quote from much earlier tonight.
I will have to
Yeah.
double check that.
Well, it seems to be someone you know, at any rate, is our 498th subscriber. So we are currently 2 shy of 500.
Oh no.
There are 2 people listening to this that have not subscribed yet. YouTube, Paranormal Encyclopedia. YouTube.com/paranormal encyclopedia, or just look up Paranormal Encyclopedia on YouTube. You will find us there. You can subscribe. You can tell us what you think. Comments are open.
And if anything, you want to know if you've actually got questions to have thrown at me while I'm eating these nightmarishly hot wings, send them to the email. This is going to be
I think
fun.
My particular thought on the subject is that we need to get a philosophical debate going.
Oh, God. Really? That's how you're going to win a philosophical debate with me while I'm eating hot wings and I can barely speak. That's the only hope you have of winning.
Oh, bite me, big boy.
I am a vampire.
The point isn't that it's the only way I can win. I can beat you just fine.
What? Wait, what? What? No. No.
I just signed out of
No.
YouTube, so let me check.
No. Yes. No. You're lying to me, G. Don't screw with me.
Oh my God!
We just got it.
499.
One person!
No.
One person!
No.
Come on, everybody!
No.
One more! One
Wait.
more!
I'm gonna see if I can get through our last sponsor before I get screwed. Folks, NordVPN is a wonderful service out there. It protects your browser history, your entire internet connection. You know what? They have tons of affordable rates and plans out there for you, and hands down, it's one of the greatest services out there. If you want to be able to actually check out websites and whatnot, and you happen to be in an area that's region locked and they won't let you look at certain websites, these guys can help you out. They'll ask where you're at, and you'll be able to enjoy it. So I highly recommend it because, I myself use it. And it's kind of fun whenever you're posting up on like 4chan or something and you say that you're in Mumbai when you're actually out in frickin' Chicago. It's great. So, yeah, check it out. Links are in the description down below. It's nordvpn.com. You'll be happy. I'll be happy. They'll be happy. So, do it. And please, for the love of all this holy, don't 500 before the end of the show. Yeah, please subscribe. Come on. No. I say thee nay. Come on, I want to be Stalingrad. Not one step back, but not one step forward either.
Do it.
Also, folks, if you want to help out the show, like, comment, subscribe. Not just to make Chris suffer.
And
that is an excellent
share.
motivator. And share.
Apparently.
Share everywhere.
Share it everywhere. Let everybody know we're out there. Also, you can go to either of our affiliate links, either NordVPN or
Audible.
Audible, thank you, because my brain was going sideways.
See what happens?
You can go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/demonology, or gofundme.com/paranormal encyclopedia.
Right.
And again, you can hit us up on the Twitter, on the email as given previously, or on our Instagram. They do get checked, everybody.
And links to things we've talked about, email and all that is in the description below if you forgot.
Right.
You don't want to rewind. But that is going to do it for tonight. Remember to tune in next week when we'll be talking. We'll probably be torturing Baron given we only need one more subscriber.
It'll be okay.
No, it won't. My ass is going to be on fire.
Remember, 500 is getting us forward. When we get to 1,000, I'm going to do the show in an evening gown.
When we get to 1,500.
I get to lace them.
Yep.
Oh, God.
So that'll be the real fun, is to do a philosophical debate between you and myself while we're both doing the Hot Wings Challenge.
You want to what? If we get one more, we'll make another batch. Gladly.
1,500. We're not doing it till 1,500. You're the one who came up with it. You get to suffer through it first.
Oh, great. Yeah, me first, always. The pioneer. Anyways, folks.
Again, it was your idea. This is your fault.
Yeah, I'm a giver.
But that's going to do it for tonight. Remember, folks, this is Kevin Mears saying good night and God bless.
This is Baron. Oh, no, wait.
It's
It's always Brian next.
Yeah.
It's all right.
with you.
Brian McKinley, keep your fangs sharp.
This is Baron Voltage saying avoid lightning rods and don't ever make a bet about 500 subscribers.
And this is Beth. Live long and prosper. And maybe soon you'll be seeing him go, oh, God, what is this on my mouth?
Good night, everyone.
Hasta lasagna.